Welcome to Sexy in Your 60s. I'm Dvora Citron. We're in season 2 now, and this season we're going deep on making friends in midlife, the real work of it, the joy of it, and why it matters more than most of us realize. I just got home from family camp with all 4 of my granddaughters. It's something I've been dreaming about, but wasn't sure when it would ever happen. And the only reason it happened is a family crisis I would have never chosen. Both of those things are true at the same time, and holding them both without letting either one cancel the other out is pretty much everything I want to talk about today. I spent 40 years as a nurse. I know how to respond to an emergency. I'm good in crisis. What nobody ever trained me for is the harder skill, the one I've been feeling and practicing throughout my children's adulthood and parenthood so far, and that is the skill of not responding, of standing right next to my adult children's lives with my hands at my sides, waiting to be asked. This summer, a family crisis brought our daughter-in-law and 2 granddaughters to live in our house for several weeks. I would have never chosen the reason. I will never stop being grateful for the time. And it isn't over now that camp has ended. Eric and I have largely put our own lives and schedules on pause while their family works out what comes next. This isn't a weekend of babysitting. It's a season, and we are still standing in the middle of it. And here's what all of it stirred up in me. I have opinions about food, about movement, about money, about where people should live, about when the big milestones should happen. 40 years of clinical experience and a lifetime of raising these people gave me those opinions, and honestly, most of them are good ones. That is exactly what makes them dangerous, because my children did not ask. And honestly, it's not that they've disappointed me. I'm proud of them. My children have built good lives, and I see my fingerprints all over how they live and how they care for the people around them. If I'm honest about the blueprint I quietly drew years ago, most of it came down to one thing. I pictured them near me, 10 minutes away, in and out of my kitchen. But they are building their lives where they choose, which isn't close to me, and it isn't close to each other either. And honestly, that's the part that matters to me even more. That's the piece I grieve, still now. Not who they are, where they are. I used to think the work of loving adult children was staying involved. I now think the work is grieving. Quietly, privately, grieving the idealized version. The one where everyone lives 10 minutes away and I'm in the bleachers at the swim meet on Wednesday night. I have to grieve that version on purpose so it stops running the show from underneath. Because here's what I've learned. Unprocessed, that longing doesn't stay put. It leaks. It comes out as advice nobody requested, as worry dressed up as helpfulness, as a hopeful little comment about somebody else's habits. And it isn't only the words. It leaks out of my face, a raised eyebrow, a certain look, a silence that lands like a verdict. That is feedback too, and the people we love read it and feel it instantly. It can put them on the defensive before I have said a single word. So I've been developing a practice, and it is a lot more than biting my tongue. It's real neurological grounding, breath work to settle my own nervous system before I react. It's self-care, so I am not running on empty and reaching for control. And it's gratitude, deliberate gratitude, because when I am actively grateful for what is, I am far less likely to grab for what I wish were. On top of all of that, when I'm with my kids and I feel the urge to guide, to evaluate, to improve, there's a little bird on my shoulder that says, don't. Sometimes I hear it in time and I close my mouth or I don't even open it. Sometimes I hear it while I'm talking. Sometimes I only hear it afterward, and I make a note. All of those count. The goal is never perfection. The goal is shortening the gap between the moment I cross the line and the moment I know I did. What I do instead is ask better questions. What do you need? How can I help? And then, this is the hard part. I do the thing they actually ask for instead of the thing I wanted to give. And there is a harder version of that discipline that I am living right now. As Eric and I sit close to a difficult situation and slowly learn more about it, the practice I keep having to choose is to listen neutrally, to take in hard information and keep my response open instead of letting my face deliver the verdict my mouth has finally learned to hold. Some days I manage it. Some days I catch it afterward. Both count. Now here's the part I haven't said out loud yet, and it's why I wanted to make this episode instead of just leaving it in the blog. Before I knew our granddaughters and their mom would be with us, I had my own hopes for this past week at family camp. I was looking forward to real, unhurried time with the rest of the family coming. But the truth is, with all 4 granddaughters there, it was so much better for all of us. Much more than we'd hoped for. I was also looking forward to something else, though something just for me. Meeting other grandparents that came to family camp, striking up conversations, forging new friendships I could actually carry home and follow up on. And you should know something about me. I am friendly. I'm good at this. Reaching out is not the thing I'm afraid of. I tried to meet as many people as I had the bandwidth for. But the truth is, helping care for the 3 that were with this and the rest of the family, protecting the little real time that we had with our own family, took nearly all the time and energy I had. So those new friendships mostly didn't happen. I had lovely conversations that got cut short because someone needed me. I walked past tables of people I would have liked to have gotten to know. And I came home without the connections I pictured making. Now, I record a lot of conversations on this show about how connection is a choice, how nobody's knocking on your door, so you have to be the one to reach out. And I believe that. I teach that. But this week, I lived the other half of that truth. Sometimes you are exactly the woman who knows how to reach out, who wants to, who is good at it, and the season simply eats the bandwidth you would have needed to do it. That is not fear. That is not failure. That's arithmetic. And I think a lot of you are living inside that same math right now, giving care in every direction and watching the friendships you want stay out of reach, not because something's wrong with you, but because you are spent. I want to say that out loud, from inside out, because almost nobody does. I'll be honest about the rest of it too. My house is full, and my life is full, and my own routines have wobbled. My exercise is inconsistent. My sleep is fair. My work is moving slower than I want, and I've had to cancel a lot of my social engagements. The old me would have called that failure. The current me calls it a season, and a season asks you to choose what matters most right now, to take imperfect care of yourself anyways, and skip the guilt. So I walk when I can. I eat the way that serves me without pushing it on anyone else. I protect a little time with Eric because we are the marriage these grandchildren and children are watching. And here's a small thing that has quietly delighted me. My 2 granddaughters from New York, the ones who have been staying with us, have taken a real interest in how I eat. I've simply called it vegan for them, and they have appointed themselves the guardians of it. They check my plate. They make sure everything on it is actually vegan. I never sat them down and taught it. They just watched and got curious, which, when I think about it, is the whole point of everything I'm trying to say today. because underneath it all is one truth I keep coming back to. My children and my grandchildren are not listening to my opinions. They're watching how I move through a hard season. Whether I keep score, whether I make other people's crises about me, whether I can hold real disappointment and real gratitude at the same time without letting either one erase the other. The best part of this whole week had nothing to do with the friendships I didn't make. It was watching my 4 granddaughters delight in each other and watching each of them get to know their aunts and uncle a little better. That is what this season gave me. I'm not going to tie it up in a neater bow than that. Real disappointment and real gratitude can sit at the same table, and I don't have to make either one leave. If this piece is landing for you, I wrote more about it on my blog in a piece called The Bird on My Shoulder. I'm Dvora Citron. This is Sexy in Your 60s. If today's conversation resonated with you, please consider following the podcast, leaving a review, or sharing it with someone who might need it right now. That's how these conversations continue to grow. I would love to stay connected. Come find me at slantplants.com/contact. And if you're curious about the Sexy in Your 60s coaching experience, get on the wait list at sexyinyour60s.com. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and stay boldly, beautifully sexy exactly as you are.